So I wanted to give you some tips for how to identify when your horse is stressed out and how you can help to relieve that stress and put them in a more comfortable, peaceful state of mind. And that's what we do at Steady Horses. We want these horses to be more steady, which means they need to be more confident, they need to have a better sense of certainty, and they need to be able to trust us enough to know that being with us is always going to be the safest place for them to be. So a couple things. You can tell when a horse is stressed out, right? Physically, sometimes there's some signs that you can see. A horse that is stressed tends to be very tense, right? So they're kind of tense in their cadence, they're rigid, they're always watching and looking at things. Another sign of a stressed out horse is, they might have a high head carriage. They're looking out for you can see the anxiety. They're looking out for the next thing on the horizon, the next lion or tiger or bear that's going to creep out and come get them. And so they're always watching and looking and head up high. Another thing that you see with a horse that's stressed out is they just never relax, right? So you'll never see them. They won't cock a hind foot or lower a head. They don't lick and chew, right? They don't take out a big deep breath, okay? And so it's super important that we kind of look for those indicators that shows us that our horse is not feeling comfortable, that they're feeling uneasy about something. Now, every horse is going to have moments where they are pretty stressed out. That's perfectly normal. Horses have mood swings that go up and down pretty drastically. They go from 0 to 60. That's just the way that they're built. But something else to keep in mind is that when you see a horse that is always stressed out, that's a very unhealthy thing. That's no way that we want a horse to live. That means that they're always experiencing anxiety. So what does that look like? If you have a horse that's pacing back and forth constantly, not a good thing. You got a horse that's gritting their teeth, not a good thing. If you have a horse that's maybe cribbing or chewing on stuff constantly, not a good thing. So those are going to be indicators that your horse is continuously stressed out. We get horses in for training here at Steady Horse all the time that come in as, this horse cribs, it does this, it does that. But a lot of times as we deal with these horses' anxiety, as we give them more of a sense of confidence and help them find places where they can stay at peace, those behaviors go away. The cribbing stops, the chewing, the pacing, all of that just goes away. And really what that comes from is being super attentive to those horses and helping them find releases. So a couple things that we look for when we have horses that are tense is we want to give them good releases. So what does that mean? If I have a horse that is pacing, I like to put them in like a larger area, and I like to maybe put them where there's some engagement, where they can find a release with interacting with another horse. I've got Bubba here, for example, and he's a pretty chill horse. In fact, he's so relaxed, he wants to always be your best friend and always be right up in your space. And so I'm constantly working with him right now in his stage of training because he's just starting and staying away, right? Not coming in my space. But for example, a new horse comes in, one of the things that we do to help relieve stress and give them a release is the first few days we're actually not really doing any training with them. We might go in their stall, out their stall. We might apply a little bit of pressure and see how they do, and then back up and see how they do with that. We might put a different neighboring horse next to them, maybe behind them. We might turn them out and see how they interact. Just again, to get them comfortable in their skin, moving, walking around, letting them be a horse and settle in and learn that this is going to be a safe place where they don't have to worry about if anybody's going to be unfair to them or if they're not going to get fed or whatever. You never know what that horse's history or background has been. And so sometimes when horses are moving around, they might think, oh, this reminds me of this one time when maybe I was starved and somebody didn't take care of me and I was neglected, or this reminds me of this one place where I was and maybe there was a rough hand that would, really get after the horse. You don't know. The good thing is even if you don't know, we can always make sure that the interactions that we have with them right now are positive, that they are encouraging, and they are conducive to helping our horses find a place of peace. So we want to be intentional about that. Something else that helps a lot with our horses' anxiety is working with them, right? Being very intentional about doing methodical exercises to help them to begin to not just connect with us and what we're asking, but for them to get comfortable in their ability to maybe back away, right? So I'm working with Bubba, I'm getting him to back away here. He doesn't want to back away. So I'm just maintaining the pressure there. He backs away. I take the pressure away to let him know that he made a good decision by backing away, help him find that place of peace. And so the more that I do these exercises where I put him in a position, you can see where I'm adding the pressure, the tension goes up. There's anxiety, his head goes up, right? I add this pressure, right? That head pops up. You can tell he looks stressed, right? When he connects and becomes attentive, and he can stand there, or he can decide there, he took a step back, I take the pressure away. So in this instance, what I'm teaching him is when there's pressure in front of you that's not resolving, then go ahead and try to back away from that pressure and see if that gets you out of that pressure, right? And so after a couple times, I should be able to do it with less pressure, where it doesn't take as long. That's better. And he starts backing away because he's figuring out that I have an expectation that when I apply that pressure, when he backs away, the pressure goes away. This begins to develop and cultivate a habit of your horse looking for that peace, looking for that release of pressure, which is different from a horse looking for the next thing that's going to eat them, right? They're saying, when I feel uncomfortable, there's probably a place that I can find peace away from this. How do I find that place? That's what we do when we are training our horses, when we are leading them, when we are guiding them. That's what it means to be a good leader to your horse. We're setting them up so that they know how to always find that peace.